People with street smarts, what is your most street tip? Story 1. This is a niche tip, but if you ever suspect something to have an electric current, do not touch it with the palm side of your hand. It can cause your muscles to contract and not let go. Always use the back side of your hand, or even better, use a blade of grass or something not too conductive. If there are down power lines or some other high voltage source in the ground, don't walk away, don't run, but look above. There can be a potential gradient in the ground. You're just fine when standing feet close to each other, but taking a step may cause the feet to be at a different potential. This may cause current to travel through our legs. The worst solution is to go on all fours, as that will cause the current to go through our body, which is much, much worse. If you're in a car with power lines on top, don't step out unless there's a risk of fire. Jump out, don't step out. Also be aware of chain link fencing or any long metal objects. You can, in theory, get shocked miles away. Electricity does not follow paths that are intuitive to us. That's something I never would have even considered. Electricity is pretty scary. I'm shocked. Story 2. Coincidences are rarely that. Pay attention to people's hands. They will give you a split-second heads-up to ill intent. Watch your back. Watch the left foot. Most people are right-handed. If they inch their left foot closer to you, they're setting up to take a swing. And most untrained right-hand fighters will instinctively try to hit you with a right cross or hook, very rarely a left jab. Conversely, you can rock people's stuff with an unexpected left jab. I'm a lefty and a former wrestler who in my younger years felt like a magnet for being right in the middle of stuff getting stirred up.
I am by no means a strong puncher, but can more than hold my own when a fight goes to the ground.
That unexpected left jab is a damn real thing. I have walked away from more fights basically untouched than I ever should have because of that left jab. Also, if you want to set up to take a swing but want to be discreet about it, step back with your right foot. It puts you in the same stance as stepping forward with the left, but also doesn't seem aggressive unless the person knows to look for it. You can also raise your hands up with your palms open and facing them, elbows tucked into your sides, and hold your hands kind of a few inches in front of each of your cheeks. Again, this looks like you're trying to surrender, but you're actually in a fighting stance. Story 3. If you want to know if you can trust somebody you let in your home, leave a $5 bill in a place that looks like it was forgotten about and that they would see it. If they'll take $5 for now, they'll take more from you later. Did this to my friend a few months after meeting. She came around. I dropped a $5 on the floor on the way in. I went to change the cake back and she said, "You dropped a $5 on the way in. I put it in your wallet and put it in the table for you." Lo and behold, wallet in the table with all my cash in it. Nothing even looked like it had been moved. Needless to say, on nights out where I feel too drunk to realize if I may lose my wallet, it goes in her bag. If I wander off and make it home, she's not going to touch it unless she's giving it back to me. She's playing the long game. I like it. She's eventually going to take everything he owns. Story 4. If I'm in an unfamiliar city, I'll explore every neighborhood freely as long as there are women and kids around. Most moms don't hang outside with their kids if the street or area is unsafe. For a year, I worked in the slums around Johannesburg, South Africa, and this is exactly how I knew when to have my guard up and when I was safe. When it was all dudes, especially if they were drinking, I would get the F out of there. Although this one time my trusty 1989 Honda Ballade wouldn't start in one of these situations, the guy started surrounding my car and I was thinking, here we go. But they just wanted to help. This sounds exactly like that one scene from Harold and Kumar. Story 5. Talk to yourself. You'll make even the craziest weirdos nervous. And draw attention to yourself. Street smarts really boil down to being aware and being invisible. Why would you want to make people nervous? Nervous people do stupid things. You can tell most of these street smarts are run by people that have never actually lived in bad areas, only visited them. Watch how locals walk at night alone in a big city. Head down, wearing mostly black, quiet, hands in pockets, and not making a scene, while still being aware, knowing exactly where they are going. Being loud or weird in any way only draws weirdos and junkies to you. Usually people will only try to rob you or mess with you if they see an opening. Don't show them that you have one. The second I see someone wearing bright colors, looking around for where to go, or being noticeable in any way, I can instantly tell they aren't from around here. So can the thieves and criminals. Story 6. People make pickpockets' livelihood so easy. Just check out how many phones are in people's back pockets and how many handbags dangle by the side, easily accessible. Always put valuables in an inside, preferably zip pockets. If you are in a notorious pickpocket area like Paris or Naples, you can even carry a fake wallet with Monopoly money in an outside pocket. The phone in the back pocket is so common and I just don't understand why. Seen so many girls with phones half sticking out of those pockets. Taking and hiding them for fun is pretty much a regular activity among them, and if a friend can take your phone without you noticing, you better be sure an actual pickpocket could do the same. Many decades ago, the former director of the Prague Zoo, Dr. Veselovsky, decided to reduce the pickpocket problem in his institution rather originally. He instructed a few girl employees to walk around the zoo in civilian clothes, looking like normal visitors, but in their open, carelessly unzipped handbags, live Australian water rats were hidden. Those rats were content to doze in the handbags as long as they were undisturbed. But if someone stuck their hand into their portable homes, they bit down pretty hard, getting their little sharp teeth almost down to the finger bones. Now it was completely legal to carry a live rodent around. You do not need any concealed rat permit. But once the word got around, no more picking pockets at the zoo. I'm gonna need one of those rats in the future. Maybe put one near my porch or something.
Hey, by the way, this video is sponsored by
Me and my friends at Rufus Rugs. We create custom, hand-tufted rugs that perfectly reflect your style. So whether you want to get one of our thumbnails as a rug for, research purposes, or maybe you just want to get some cool anime-style rugs for your room, check out Rufus Rugs by clicking the first link in the description.
Story 7. Mind your own business. At restaurants or establishments, sit with your back to a wall, no blind spots, and a view of the entrance. Beware of unsolicited kindness or help from strangers. People who carry guns often walk and posture a certain way. Learn to identify this. Don't be a hero. Never accept something free from someone you don't know. This is a big one in prison. Never assume or believe a woman you don't know if she says she's on birth control. If you commit crimes with people you know and get caught, expect them to rat on you. At the scene of an accident, don't expect or ask people to help. Tell them to. This tends to break the bystander effect. If you witness a serious crime, disappear. Getting involved in any way is bad news. If it's really important to you that you do the right thing, call an anonymous tip line. If someone's staring you down, nod your head down while maintaining eye contact. A harmless person will nod back. Look away. Don't hop trains if it's your first time alone. In getting to know train hoppers and hobos, don't hit on a hobo. You'll probably end up hurt behind a bush. This is common enough to say something. Run if you need to. Hurt pride is temporary. Avoid junkies. Things often go very quiet before stuff hits the fan. You can feel it coming. This is very common in prison. Have an exit plan at all times. Don't steal from criminals. Don't steal, period. A weapons enhancement during a robbery can be the difference between a few years and decades. Story 8. If someone bumps into you or brushes against you, check your pockets. There's this reflex people have when bumped against. They will immediately go and check wherever they keep their wallet or money. So sometimes pickpockets will send in recon people who will just kind of get a little too close and bump into people. Then the actual pickpockets can see where you check and go for that pocket. Saw a TV show where ex-street con artists told of the tricks people use so that viewers could guard against them. In some train stations, bus stations, etc., there are advertising posters put by police or local authorities warning people against pickpockets. Do you know where your wallet is? People see the poster and immediately move their hands to the pocket where their wallet is to check if it was there. And by doing so, they've given the location away to the pickpockets who are watching. The people in the show said that posters like this help the pickpockets more than it reduced crime. I keep my stuff in all sorts of pockets, and I'm constantly checking to see if I have everything on me because I lose things a lot. I typically pat like 4 pockets in a row as I never remember what's in which pocket. The point is, I'm actually an idiot. But apparently I've been street smart by just touching all the pockets I own. Story 9. If anyone ever makes the conscious decision to steal anything from you, never trust them. Ever. If they steal a lighter from you, they will steal your money, your jewelry, your car, you name it. Stay away from stupid a-holes. They'll get you in legal trouble or worse, hurt, despite their best intentions or how friendly they are. $1 bills stack up over time. If you broke, a bag of potatoes is like $2.50. Backing down from a fight may hurt your ego, but will keep you alive longer. That being said, sometimes you gotta fight. Pick your battles wisely. Not everyone who calls themselves your friend is your friend. Not everyone who you call a friend is a friend. If you even think for 1 second you should bail, get the heck out of whatever situation you're in immediately. If you accidentally disrespect someone, apologize immediately. I've seen this save lives. More often than not, loud people bring the noise, quiet people bring the guns. That being said, never underestimate how badly somebody wants to prove themselves. And watch out for live wires. A live wire is somebody who gets hyped up and excited easily. If you aren't from the streets or hood or ghetto, don't act like you are. If an older, street-knowledgeable person tells you, don't do something or don't go somewhere, just don't. Never, ever, ever find out what somebody has in the trunk. Finally, look, listen, and learn. Story 10. For reference, I'm a 4'11" woman, 100 pounds at best. To prevent myself from being mugged when walking home late at night, I wear baggy jackets, stuff my hands in my pockets, because implies I have a weapon, pull a mean scowl, and pace incredibly quickly to where I need to go. Once I was approached by some junkie and I just looked him in the eye and walked even faster towards him. The idiot ran. That's all the tips I got. Every time I've had a pleasant or relaxed day or I've been approached by strangers. It's sad, but you gotta out-crazy the crazy. Also, don't have your music so loud you can't hear people sneak up behind you. I don't know what it's like in America, but king hits are common in Australia, where people get you from a punch in the head from behind. Well, why not carry a weapon, even pepper spray? Instead of just looking like you have one, and why not leave a like in this video and subscribe to the channel instead of just liking the content in general? Story 11. As someone who grew up in some tough parts of the Bronx and Yonkers in New York City, and has been around Queens as well, my biggest tip would be, never mind, this needs a list. Walk like you know where you're going. If you look like an easy target, chances are folks around you are thinking the same thing. Most bad areas are infested with poverty-stricken people looking for an easy come-up. If you ever hear a door slam shut, followed by, "Hey yo, he's right there, that's it," run for your life. Even if you did nothing. People bite the dust from strays and misidentified targets regularly. If a stranger compliments you on your new kicks or says something along the lines of, "What size do you wear?" "Word, those are my size too."
Do not entertain this conversation. Keep it short and sweet, and the first chance you get, check your surroundings. This usually is him essentially implying he's about to book your sneakers. If he's smart, he will usually have people waiting for you on your other side, or if you're on the train, he'll have goons posted up at the nearest stop knowing you will probably try to dip. Keep your head in a swivel, never get caught sleeping. So many lives could have been saved had the victims had a little more environmental awareness or street smarts, most notably 15-year-old Junior, who grew up around where I spent most of my time as a kid and as a teenager. Not to be a jerk, but had he had a little more street smarts and recognized the setup beforehand, he would have known not to come out. Please don't buy anything from anyone who's trying to bargain with you in the block or corner. Whatever the stuff is, expect it to have poor quality, and it was probably illegally obtained. If you feel unsafe with a chain on, tuck your chain in any other jewelry. Lock your car doors. People will key your car if they notice you leave it unlocked every day. Do not engage with anyone who isn't there alone. People will jump in and stop you with huge Timberland boots. Lastly, walk with confidence. Look confident, not cocky. Cockiness can and will get you depending on where you're at. Story 12. When someone comes up to sell you something, look them in the eyes and say a firm and rather loud no. They quickly move on. You've shown you won't be an easy target, either for pickpocketing or buying what they're selling. They don't want you to bring attention to them. I've mainly used this when I've given myself away as a tourist or non-native somewhere and someone sketchy comes up to me trying to act friendly. I look like a total jerk, but I practically yell at them and they just move on. I'm a 5'flat woman weighing in at 125 pounds. I've traveled alone around plenty of sketchy places in the US and spent months in Europe, and I've never been stolen from. You may look like an easy target at first glance, but make some noise and give a single-worded rejection or dismissal keeps them moving. They may look sweet and innocent, but you gotta be a jerk. Someone else in that thread also said, never let anyone touch you. If someone is talking to you or touching you that you don't know, make some noise. I usually don't even bother with a no, and outright ignore them and brush right past. That works fine too. Story 13. Walk confidently and act like you belong, but never let feeling like it's awkward to act prevent you from avoiding a dodgy situation. 99.9% is avoidance, and with the best of the best, it doesn't matter what you do. If you get on the wrong bus with a team of pickpockets, the only way out of that is getting off the bus. Don't ever carry expensive goods in isolated regions or overly crowded regions if it's an area with lots of tourism. Never leave anything in a hotel safe unless it's an international chain. That just puts a label on it. Had enough stuff go missing from hotel safes with the end result being a he said, she said argument and you end up screwed. Lastly, if you feel someone touching your shoulder or something like that, it's to physically distract you from the fact they're taking your wallet. Immediately move and shove your hand into the wallet. Highly recommend you watch some stuff on YouTube about how pickpocket teams operate. You'd be really surprised just how many people are involved and how organized. Source: traveled the world as a digital nomad. What I mean about avoiding stuff is that when in doubt, turn around or cross the street. I'm 6'2", 220 pounds, a former rugby and hockey player. It doesn't matter how confidently I walk. If that 16-year-old kid wants my wallet, all he needs is another 16-year-old or a weapon, and it's his. The walk with confidence thing makes you less of a casual target, but there are people out there every day pickpocketing and mugging. They are way better at it than you are at preventing it. You can make yourself less of a target, but the only way to ensure you don't get mugged is total avoidance. Last time in Morocco, I left a modern art museum that, for some reason, was situated in a golf course on the outskirts of Marrakesh. There was about a kilometer of nothing but desert between the entrance of the golf course and the city proper. While walking back, two kids just appear out of nowhere and start following. My girlfriend and I both walked quickly, but they were gaining. Just to be careful, we crossed the highway. So did they. So then we booked it and ran to the city. Went inside the first building, which was a pharmacy, to catch our breath. The shop owner immediately asked, "Is it those two kids?" We nod our heads and he says, "Don't leave. I'm calling the police." Those two had a German couple just the week before. They looked like they couldn't have been older than 14. Yes, it feels ridiculous running away, and most of the time you're probably being an idiot. Most of the time you're just running away from two kids going to soccer practice. But if your gut says this is bad, don't worry about it being awkward, just get out fast. The downside is that someone you'll never see again thinks you're a little strange. Also search for cell phone thieves in Brazil on YouTube. Never underestimate the number of people cooperating together in a highly sophisticated manner. Thieves are professionals. If they don't succeed, their children go hungry or they go to jail. You, or an amateur, and no amount of walk confidently is going to help you if you've been targeted by a group. There's way too much false hope being spread in this thread. Once I even saw the guy trying to maneuver behind me at a bus stop. I even stared him down to let him know I knew what was going on. I took my wallet and moved inside my jacket pocket while keeping my hand on it. Bus arrives and people line up to board it. He obviously gets behind me and puts a hand on my shoulder. I'm thinking, it doesn't matter. My wallet is in my pocket, my hand is on it. Suddenly, hand feels empty. I turn to chase and he's nowhere to be found. I saw it coming before it happened, but decided I had it under control and didn't want to spend a few extra dollars on a cab or at least walk away and take another bus. Story 14. My friend gave me this advice once and have used it a few times and works well. Unfortunately, it works only if you're a male. If you're walking through a shady side of town or city, then take off your shirt and shove it in your pocket. This obviously helps if you have tattoos or muscles, but that really doesn't matter. If you ever see a guy walking down the street or sidewalk with his shirt off and no sign of his shirt anywhere, he is probably crazy and people will stay the F away from you. I've lived in Washington Heights, New York City, and sometimes had to take the subway home late at night and exit the train on the shady or dope-filled side of that neighborhood. Locals would look at this crazy white boy walking the sidewalk in the cold with no shirt on like I was carrying a gun. Brilliant. Story 15. My cousin fell victim to an easy con while traveling in South America. She got away easy just losing a digital camera and some cash. It could have been worse. Basically, she and her friend were walking down the street and someone, a kid I think, from a nearby building window or fire escape dumped a bunch of gross smelly liquid on them. They were obviously grossed out, and a kindly passerby offered to help them get cleaned off by offering napkins or paper towels and such. The strangers told them to go into a nearby McDonald's bathroom to clean up. They opted to go back to their hotel room as it was in their hair and clothes were soaked. Turns out that was a good move on their part. When they got back to their hotel room, they realized their cameras and cash were taken by the people who helped them clean up. They looked into this common scam after the fact, and there were likely people waiting for them in the McDonald's bathroom to beat them up and possibly do worse.
So if you're walking down the street and suddenly find yourself covered in nasty stuff,
Don't accept any help from strangers. Try to stay calm, don't make a scene, and make your way in the direction of somewhere safe. I'd probably be worried about being followed back to my hotel room, but if it's a relatively secure hotel, you can probably get by going back to your room.
if I get a bunch of nasty liquid dumped on me in public,
Nobody would even see me from how fast I'd run home or to an unpopulated area. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you made it this far, I'm sure you'll also enjoy what's the most disturbing historical fact that's not taught in schools. Story 2 is awesome. See you in that video.